Hey, what a flippy flop though. This is Stranger, Gregory Kerwin, or Big Miss. We got another Fall Alpha weekend gameplay, Fall Alpha 3 weekend gameplay for you guys, and this one is Steel. I think in the end we do lose this game, but it's just quite the fantastic gameplay for the most part. And I didn't play a lot of Steel because he was broken, and I really didn't want to feel like using a broken character during an alpha because it literally felt like I was cheating. I don't know how to word it. And this was also before they got rid of his passive for the alpha because he did have a passive. It said he was immune to CC. Uh, that was anywho. They got rid of that very fast. They learned. So what I want to talk today about is why I think Strange Matter Studios is going to make a better MOBA. Um, Fault basically why Fault is going to be better than Paragon. So we're trying to about saying that you got to ignore a few things, right? We're talking about the full release of Fault compared to the full release of Paragon. Of course, Paragon's better than the alpha. You know what I mean? So we got that. Number two, we got some polishing, right? You got to forget about the polishing because you can't go off that. Those are expected fixes on the Strange Matter side, and they will fix it. They wouldn't make a game without fixing these polishing up, right? So what we're talking bugs, character design, because Paragon looked fantastic. So the game's gonna have to. A Fault doesn't necessarily have to look as good, but it has to be up there, right? We're trying to hit AAA game if possible, if possible. However, the map did start to look a little better as the weekend went on, the alpha weekend. And yeah, so you got your bugs and all that stuff, right? So we're ignoring all that because those are expected, obvious fixes. We're ignoring them. We're going on. So now we're down to the core of the game. What is different about Fault than was different about Paragon? Number one, the map. Number two, a few characters are slightly different. Number three, the item system slash card system. Number four, the way the characters interact. That's pretty much it. So let's start with number one. I forget what I said, so we're gonna say number one is the map. So the difference between the Paragon map, we're not talking Legacy. You don't want to talk about Legacy. Legacy is gone. I know some people love it. Monolith was better though. Get over yourself. So we're talking about Monolith here. What was the problem with Monolith? Well, number one, in the early game, it was safe in the safe lane. It was a 2v1, so the offlaner was almost smoked, and because of that, the offlaner had to stay in the laning phase a bit more. A lot of people will argue that that's just more of a stylistic choice because Epic did mean to do that, and they know that they could have went dual lane, dual lane. But I personally think it's not as good. Why I don't think so is because I think it's unfair to have an imbalance right at the beginning of the game. At the beginning of the game, there is not supposed to be imbalances in a MOBA, and it's through those little small increments that imbalances happen, kind of like chess. Uh, but with the Monolith map, that 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 safe lane tower or the off lanes for tier one tower was gone. It is gone. So immediately you got this extra space now, and you can immediately go into the weak side jungle and start taking their jungle. I did really appreciate that. No offense. At first, I really did like it until I faced AD carry support versus AD carry support. It is just better. It's more fun as a laner. So, how do I word it? It is more fun being a support and a carry versus support and carry. Because at any moment, they could smoke you, and you could smoke them. To where when you're playing an offlaner, they might dive you, and their support's just going to hit one thunk and go, yeah, try it again. And offlane's going to go, never. Never. Sorry, pal. I didn't mean to poke the bear here. So there is that. So that is one reason for the map. You don't. There's no imbalance in the laning phase unless except for the actual gameplay itself. There's going to be imbalances, but no map imbalances. No imbalances because of the map. Number two, the river buff. For one, they got rid of certain river buffs. I'm not sure if they're planning on putting the rest of them in or not. But there used to be like four different kind of river buffs. There might be three. I'm not sure. Uh, but they changed it up so that the river buff is only one thing at the moment, at least. And usually the river buff was right down the middle of the river, so the mid laners could grab it. Like I remember being howitzer, jumping up on the little hill, little ledge there, and through the fog wall, shooting a rocket to grab the river buff. Never even have to left the lane. That seems kind of awesome. Uh, but it clearly was a problem. And why it was a problem is number one, you had your mid laners getting a buff without any real consequence. And what I mean by that is when you grab these middle buffs, it's supposed to be like the jungle could be there at any second. Anyone could rotate because it's right in the middle. It's the easiest one to get to. So there's supposed to be some risk with it. But with the monolith map, there was absolutely zero risk with the river buffs. You could argue that there was, but I would argue the majority of the time there wasn't, because you could be Gadget, you could be Bellica, you could be Howitzer, and you could grab that middle buff without a hitch. You could just pop in, basic tackle once or twice, throw your super long mage attack, your Q. There you go, you got it. And the problem with it also is there was some luck involved. Like you had your purple buff, which made you invisible, and you had your black buff, right? I think there's a speed buff too. I do believe a blue buff. So there's a bit of luck involved. Strange Matter said, "Fuck the luck. This is what it's gonna be." So now that's what we're talking about. We're back to the imbalances thing. That we're not. It's not a luck based. Oh, I just happened to get a black buff this time. Oh, ho, ho, lucky me. I'm gonna get a kill now. It's gonna be no. This is what the buff does. The black buff was kind of also broken. Every time I got the black buff, I used to go, oh, ho, lucky me too. You know what I mean? Anywho, so there's that. And then what they did is instead of putting it straight down the middle, they kind of put it backwards. So it's a part of the weak side jungle on both sides. So what does this do? Well, it makes it so that it's safer for the mid laner to grab their own buff if they want to, but they have to leave the lane. So now they're adding an element to that, and leaving a lane against mage is very difficult, especially on the mid lane, right? They're probably going to get a few hits on your towers, so there is that risk. Number two, it makes it so that it makes it so that the jungler can grab it a lot safer without having to risk what was coming. Number three, let's say you do want to risk it for the biscuit, and you want to grab the enemy's jungle buff or river buff. It's going to be a lot harder now because in the weak side jungle. Don't get me wrong, the weak side jungle is still easy to invade, but you're going into enemy territory and there is a bigger risk. So, and that I think is a really key element because for a jungler, there should be a lot of risk with going onto the enemy side. That's the point of being a jungler. That's why warding is important. So on and so forth. It just adds another level, another layer of thought process and dynamic gameplay. So that's why I think it is better. Also, they only kept it to one. It's just mana regen. That's all it is. You get some mana regen, which turns out to be extremely important to the jungler early game. Because they run out of mana pretty quickly in Fault. Not sure if that. I don't exactly remember if that happened in Paragon, but it definitely happens in Fault. So now you got that. So that is that. The third thing is the way the map's designed. So there is a few small changes. Number one, I find grabbing the minion camps, for example, in Fault, they're more in like their own isolated hole. What I mean is if you go into those minion camps, it's hard to run away if you're screwed up your minion hits, or didn't kite properly and you're about to die, or someone decides to gank you, if you can call it a gank, while you're in the mini camp. You got no way out. To where it used to be in Paragon, you could hit the mini camp and just run away because it was still kind of a part. The mini camp was a part of the jungle, but in Fault, it's still a part of the jungle, but it's like it's in its own isolated circle. Like it's its own space within a space. That I really appreciate. Number two, they got rid of the green buff and they just made a red buff. So you're not getting extra health, which I think is fantastic because number one, early game. I don't think a jungle should get extra help early game because then we're talking way too early ganks, and it just ruins the laning phase. Like I said earlier, the laning phase is where should be no imbalances because of a map design. None. You know what I mean? You need to that's just something I believe in my opinion. Uh, so I got that. Number two, the way the lanes are kind of designed now. So what I mean is, you know how in Paragon, it used to be like you were looking up if you're in the off lane, if you were looking down if you're in the safe lane, because there was an elevation. They still have the elevation. Don't get me wrong, but what they did is they kind of made like this, what looks like a hockey arena to me, uh, in the off lanes or like the left lane, right lane. That is like it's like an arena for the characters to go at it. They got free space, and it's like really easy to hit your stuns, really easy to hit your shots, but it also adds it actually adds risk to both sides to grabbing their minions or to get their last hit on the minions. And the thing that's cool about it is that part, this like hockey arena is the elevation. So when a gank's coming in, for example, if they don't get seen, because like let's say there's no ward, uh, they come in to the lane. There's actually like this wall they can hide behind, which is right. It'll be right beside the enemy's carry and support, and they might not, and the enemy might not know they're there because of this elevation. So I really appreciate that because it adds a level. Like you gotta be looking, and it adds a level of warding is important. Like there's no more of this. Uh, oh, I don't actually accidentally ward. I didn't ward because I need a damage card. Like they're making it so that if you're not warding, you have the potential to get absolutely punished. And I really appreciate that, and I think it's fantastic. So there's that. So that's what we're talking about with the map. So number two, we're talking about the characters now. So with the characters, the thing that made Paragon good was its characters. With a few exceptions, Greystone's passive is kind of trash. But for the most part, the characters are beloved. That is what made Paragon Paragon. Like more so than anything else, that was it. And luckily for us, and thank you Epic Games, they released all the assets for Paragon. So Fault said, "Good, we're gonna take what worked with Paragon and we're gonna put it in Fault." Bang. There you go. Now you got all these characters that everyone loves, holds dear to their heart, and are just fun to play. You know what I mean? They truly are just fun to play. And on top of that, the characters that had issues, with the exception of Greystone, they're trying to not rework, but change. Because when I hear the word rework, that's like what happened with Iggy and Scorch. Iggy is trash. We had to rework her whole kit, and she very much changed. But with but what Strange Matter did is they changed a few things. So what did they change? Well, the Twin Blast ult in Paragon used to be this like he grabs like a machine gun. He be turned into like an LMG and can shoot. Doesn't deal a lot of damage for the most part, but it has a longer range than his basic attack does. So it's really good at getting people that are one shot that are getting away. Epic's got rid of that. They said, nah, 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 nah. That's trash. Because in reality, who truly used Twin Blast ult past 20 minutes? It was actually garbage, didn't do enough damage, and people would be like, well, it did do a lot of damage. Yeah, but 3 basic hits also did too, compared to the 80 hits you had to hit, which is way harder to do with the ult. You know what I mean? So they got rid of it. So what did they change about Twin Blast ult? Well, they made it so that I'm not entirely sure. Because I didn't play Twin Blast at all during the Alpha Weekend, to be frank. But they made it so he shoots a bit faster for a few seconds. So now out of nowhere, he's just going to be like, ching, ching, ching. You know what I mean? Which is absolutely fantastic. It just really adds an element of, oh boy, Twin Blast is about to ult. We better Twin Blast is ult and time to get out of here, but you don't have time to get out of there against Twin Blast. I just appreciate it. I just think it's good. And Steel. What did they change about Steel? Well, The only real thing they changed. Well, okay, actually that's not true. Epic Games nerfed Steel. Strange Matter said, "Fuck that. We're going back to OG Steel, the broken Steel, the one whose ult was so good that the man was played in jungle, even though he wasn't a great jungler in Paragon for the most part. But his ult is that broken, and we need him to level 5 right away. That Steel sounds like a problem. It really does. Like you're thinking, why would they bring back a broken character? No one wants that. That's not fun. Well, it's because what I was saying during the alpha weekend is I'm not entirely sure the specs, and I don't really know exactly. But when I was playing the characters, it felt like every character was broken. So it was broken versus broken, but because of that, it's an even game. So it's like when you go in and you're picking a character and you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna dominate. But when you feel like that with every character, it is absolutely fantastic. It adds confidence, it adds more fun to the game, and so on and so forth, right? So I really think faults going for trying to make every character broken. I just I just I just think it's I just really think that's the way to go. Like, cause broken unfortunately correlates with the most fun. Like everyone likes playing the most broken character and stomping on people, but but when every character is broken, you feel like that, even though you might be getting shit on. I don't know. It's just like it just adds another layer. So back to steel. They made a shield a bit better. They can put it. You can put it down now. You don't just hold it. Like la la la. No, I'm pretty sure you can always put it down. Oh no, you can hold it if you want, to where you used to have to be able to put it down. That's pretty much the only thing. And the biggest thing that they're doing with these characters is they said they're giving every character a passive. They're going to give them like a fifth ability, and it's going to be a passive. Why is this important? Like, why would Strange Matter Studios go out of their way when these characters, when the majority of characters are clearly loved and already work fine? Why would they go out of their way to change their kit to give a passive? And why do they think it's going to be better? Why do I think it's going to be better? I think it's going to be get better because I just think the idea, first off, is fantastic. What do I mean by this is everyone wants an active, of course, and most characters that's all you're going to get. But with having a passive, it adds that other layer of this is what my character can do. You know what I mean? This is what makes Twin Blast. Twin Blast is his passive. I don't know if that makes any sense. What I'm trying to say. I just really think it's a good stylistic choice, and it's good. And it also, again, actually, this is a really good point. It brings back that off imbalance thing I was talking about. Because if you got some characters that have passes and some that don't, there's already an imbalance, right? Because technically, a passive is not as broken. It's less skilled. But because there is characters with passive, well, how do you balance it out so that everyone is on the same playing field? Well, you just give everyone a passive. And now this thing, quote unquote, less skilled just falls off. It's gone. So now that everyone's on the same playing field, it's actually skilled again. That was kind of a weird theory of mine. I don't think I worded it the best. We're gonna keep rolling. So now we're on to the characters. We're done with the characters. That's it. The passive is the biggest thing. And now we got the item shop. And I wish you folks could see what I'm doing right now, because I'm holding my arms up in the air like I'm fucking reaching out to God. Because that's how I feel about this item shop. So, the item shop in Paragon had gems. First off, no one cared about the gems. In fact, I stopped playing because of the gems. So they got rid of that. So, ignore everything that happened after version 42 of Paragon. Because Strange Matter Studios basically said that version was shit. We're going to the monolith before that. Thank you. I appreciate that. So, but that means that we're talking about the card system. That you build decks. Uh, why is building decks a problem? Don't get me wrong, I love building decks, but why is it a problem? It's a problem because now you're basically saying There is a recipe for success with these characters. And you're thinking, yeah, well, everyone, there's always going to be a most optimized way, Greg. Come on, what are you talking about, Big Moose? Well, how do I word this? When you have a recipe for success like that, it eliminates counterplay, which is a problem because every game it's just like people are going to choose certain characters because they have the best deck, and you're already at a disadvantage in the draft. I don't appreciate that. I think that is not fair. You know what I mean? Like we got, as I said again, you got to be on a balanced field from the get go. You got to be balancing. Like, and the imbalances should come from the actual gameplay itself and how the team works as a team and how the individual characters do themselves. It should not come from the map. It should not come from the characters' kits, and it should not come from anything like that. No, well, there's exceptions, right? Like if you try to play a Narbash in the jungle, you're off to an imbalance because he's not a jungler. But with that exception, there shouldn't be, right? We're talking to everyone's in their most comfortable position kind of thing. This is what we got. So that is the biggest problem is the recipe for success in the decks. So Strange Matter saw this and they realized that the community that is still left uh, truly, truly, truly loved that card system though. They really did enjoy it, but Strange Matter saw the issue in the card system. So what did they do differently? They got rid of the card system and they made it more like an item system, kind of like League of Legends, right? So you build into a legendary item. They added boots to the game, which uh, which is kind of cool. It adds like everyone. The only problem with that is it's going to become a staple. Everyone's going to grab boots now, which is kind of unfortunate. But and the biggest thing is the factions. So what they did is they basically added these factions, which basically say what your deck is going to be. Uh, and that's basically your deck. So instead of building a deck, you basically choose what kind of deck you're going to have in game. Because your factions always correlate with your legendary items, unless there's an exception I don't know about. Because that's just the best, smartest play in the game to get the most ahead. So you got this, and what it adds is because you're not building a deck with the counterplay. So let's say someone's building a certain card that is broken. Well, now there might be a card in the deck in this item system. I'm gonna sneeze. Ugh. Alright, I think I'm good. I thought I lost a few brain cells and it shot out my nose for a second, but we're good. So that's what I'm talking about. So if someone builds a certain card, there might be another card in this item system that counters it, and that's what it gives. It gives an ability to counter, and that is so important in a MOBA because that's what keeps it competitive, and that is what keeps it skill based. Simple as that. The item system is fantastic. I think there's a few issues with the item system, in my personal opinion. Uh, for example, the support tree, the white system is pretty trash. I wish there was a few more neutral cards in the game. I wish there was like a neutral legendary card. Um, that's really much it, to be honest. And some of the factions are broken slash useless. That's a topic for another day. Ooh, yeah. Now that I sneeze, my nose, it's 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 clogged. So you got that. Oh, and the biggest thing I want to talk about why Fault's going to be better. To put it in general's perspective, Strange Matter Studios is learning from the lessons that Epic Games failed at. Clearly, Epic had Fortnite in their back pocket, so that's probably the most predominant reason why Paragon failed. But if Paragon was making money, of course, they would have continued to have the game. Number two, uh, Epic got themselves locked into a every 3 weeks. Strange Matter hasn't done that because now that they're set, because It's great. Oh yeah, every 3 weeks we're gonna get a new character. We're gonna get a good patch. Uh, but because of that, they were rushing to develop the characters, and we ended up with a lot of broken characters. For example, the Aurora era, when she first came out, was broken. When they could have spent more time testing her so that they didn't change the meta every week or every 3 weeks. That can be very frustrating to new players and people that aren't playing, taking the game competitively. Anyone that's not taking the game competitively when the meta changes every 3 weeks can be difficult. I do agree that the meta has to change, but maybe not every 3 weeks. I feel like that's too little. So they're not locking themselves down to a 3 week bargain. And also, at the end of it, Paragon or Epic Games couldn't meet the 3 weeks quota that they set on themselves, and the community hated them for it. You don't want to do that to yourself. You want to be with the community. If the community starts hating on you, on the developer, well, the game's gonna fail, right? So I got that. Number two, I do believe that there's a lot of passionate people that played Epic Games, and I believe that created Paragon, that were developers in Epic Games. And I believe it is for that reason that Epic Games reluctantly released the assets to Paragon, because I feel like internally, without us knowing it, the developers basically had it up for and said, if you're going to do this, we want it to be able to be a game. And they're going to be like, well, we can't do that. It's millions of dollars. It's our property. You're going to do it. Like, they're like, please do it. And like, I don't know. I don't know exactly what happened, but I feel like that's what happened. I am just speculating, of course, though. So why is that important that they released these assets? Well, because the people that are going to pick up these assets and try to create a Paragon-esque game, they're the passion pit players. They're the passion pit developers. They're the ones that are in it for more than the money. Like, everyone wants to get paid with a job, but there's a difference. For example, uh, if I'm a developer and I'm creating a video game, let's say I'm creating Fortnite 2. I hate Fortnite though. Personally, as someone that's a developer and a gamer, I fucking don't like that game. I never go home and play it, but every day, 40 hours, 50 hours a week, I had to develop that game. Well, there's a lack of passion when you're developing a game like that. And I do believe that that kind of stuff, because we got to think of developing as a kind of artist work, right? No one writes a song that they're not passionate about, for example, unless there's a bucket load of money. But what and you know when someone's passionate, a developer is passionate about a game in the quality of the game. You can just feel it. You can just see, like, I don't know how to word it. When you walk into a like the newest Call of Duty and the game crashes every single day and they apparently have billions of dollars, well, I would say that developers, they might have a lot of developers, but the developers aren't passionate, and because of that, they're missing little stuff that end up mattering a lot. Mattering, don't think's a word, but here we are. So I think Strange Matter Studios is a bunch of developers that care about Fault. They care about this game. They love it. They go home. They think about it. This is what they are all in. Number two, why it's going to be better is the all in, as I just said. They don't got a Fortnite in their back pocket. If Strange Matter fail, I'm pretty now. Don't quote me on this, but they're an indie company. They're very new. They're basically a startup still, but they're getting quite successful. On might add. But if Fall fails, I'm pretty sure Strange Matter fails. That's it. They go under if Fall fails. They're all in. Chips are in. You know what I mean? So they have to make it work, whether they're not passionate or not. Even though I do believe they are, they have to make Fault work if they want to keep doing this job that they're doing. That's another reason, because they're going to work night and day to make this work. And that is why I think Fault is going to be better than Paragon. I don't do very many commentaries, and I've never done one this long before, so it might be a bit cringe, but I'm going to keep doing them because the only way to get better is to keep doing them. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the Steel gameplay. He's pretty smexy. He's kind of broken. That character needs some kind of a nerf, but I don't know how that's going to work. Uh, This is fault. This is false.
How do we get Prime and then die like that?
And we just lost Prime in the gameplay. Anywho, thank you for tuning in. If you liked the video, please comment, like, and subscribe. If you disagree, agree with me, if you have any thoughts, any comments, please leave a comment below, and we'll get a discussion started. I'll go right in. I'll deepen you. I'll go head to head, 1v1, battle you if I disagree with you. I'm not afraid. Thank you, and I'll see ya. I'll see ya. Probably should have done it, but I did it. Shouldn't be me. Oh my god.
Ally has been slain.
There goes another
An ally has been slain.
Oh my god.
An ally has been slain.
Oh my lord.
An allied tower is under attack. been slain.
Holy shit. That was close. Oh yeah, baby, that was close. I don't know if I have a lot of health or not.
Ally has been slain.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Yeah, go.
An enemy has been slain. Double kill.
Bitch.
An enemy has been slain.
Come on, give me my health, bro.
An enemy has been slain. been
Enemy
slain.
has double kill. Ally has been slain. An ally has been slain. Enemy tower destroyed. Taken the orb prime. An enemy has been slain.
Jump down, jump down!
An ally has been slain.
Bro, jump down. You're an idiot.
An ally has been slain. An ally has been slain. An allied tower is under attack.
We lost. Wow.
An enemy has been slain.